We're going to call the March 18th meeting to order. Mr. Carroll, roll call.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Smith. Here. Mr. Vector.
Here.
Mr. Carr.
Here.
Mrs. Keegan.
Here, this time we'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, is there any board members who desire to add, delete, or separate any items of the consent agenda as proposed? No? Need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting on March 18th, 2024.
So moved. Support.
Roll call?
Yes. Mr. Vector.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mrs. Keegan.
Yes, motion carried. This time I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on February 20th, 2024.
Moved. Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Smith. Yes. Mr. Vector.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mrs. Keegan.
Yes, motion carried. At this time, is there any board members with correspondence? Mr. Carroll? Mr. Small?
Yes, I received a notification from Shane Bergman of his resignation at the end of the school year.
Thank you. Mr. Small, you can continue recognizing guests and visitors.
I have a number of guests with us today. Thank you for being here. If you could please just quickly introduce yourself.
Jenny Conrad, Christy Schmidlin,
Lucas Bergholder, Brady Rupert,
Dr. Dolores Lightfoot, Sherry Brown,
Isaac Hansel.
Henry Marlin, David Bennett,
Oh.
Carson Wise, Brady Stevens, Kate Moore, Devin Moore, Dylan Emmerich, Barry Clark, Scott Keller.
Amber Hansel.
Michael Baker.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, we do have a softball parent group that's going to present to the board on field turf.
Thank you for coming at the beginning. I appreciate it. So I know I have 3 minutes. I'll make this as short as possible, and then we can deal with questions later. I'm going into my 3rd year here. When I first got here, we looked at the softball field, and there were some concerns about some of the issues that we had. I worked with the administration. At the time was Derek and Dan Curtis. And then anyways, we tried to have a plan to address some of those concerns. Since then, at that time, we had a company by the name of DuraEdge come out, and they quoted the needs at the softball field at about $25,000 and about $11,000 to improve the baseball field needs that weren't maintained at the time. With all that being said, and I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can, our field, the softball field, looks the way it does because of a lot of volunteers putting in their time and spending of their own money, such as, rolling, aerating. They've done lots of things for us, maintenance, rebuilding mounds and batters boxes. Last year, DuraEdge came out and reset our bases, which were off. So until last season, actually, in the middle of last season, the softball field was not regulation. The bases were off. They had to be corrected. We need, again, the field looks the way it does, and it's immaculate because of the time and effort that have been put in by other people other than the school. Again, I've worked with the administration and brought these concerns up to what we needed to do to maintain the softball field and make it up to par, along with the baseball field as well. Again, aerating and seeding, spraying, trimming of grass around the edges, to my knowledge, I don't think they've ever been done since I've been here. Okay, we have a home scrimmage tomorrow, and we don't have foul lines on our field. Of course, Mr. Hendricks and I work together. He knows and is aware. We've communicated about these things. He's been in constant contact with me about that. So anyways, I was approached by a parent group to look in to see if we could get the turfing of the field to cut down on costs and the prep work. So for us, we get lots of rain, we need drainage. We need 125 tons as of right now. The last estimate that Mr. Hendricks had for the softball field was $34,000. And the baseball field was up to 15. This was all in a year span. So Scott Keller, Haley Sin, and some other, Michelle Polson, Andrew Polson, we formed a softball dugout club. And we've gone out and gotten quotes and worked to see if we could get the turf and put in. So now our next step is to seek board approval to move ahead to have that privately funded for the turf at the softball field. Now, baseball, people say, what about baseball? We've approached baseball and they are fine with what they have. They don't want to have a turf field. So this would be something that we solely would be responsible for, seeking private donations to upgrade and create, community, open to the community and promote softball and our heart, what we consider the heart of our athletic complex, because that's where the softball field is located, would be something that would be a showcase for the community.
Okay, Coach, we don't have a full board tonight.
Yep.
So can we, communicate through Mr. Hendricks? Any questions we have so that we can those hearing it for the first time now,
Yes,
think through it, see what kind of questions we have. We'll discuss as a board and either we will invite you guys back or throw questions to you through Mr. Hendricks.
yes.
But without Mr. Miller, I'd like to kind of do it together. So,
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, and there's a lot I said that, I mean, and I don't want anybody to feel like. Since my tenure here, the administration, both Dan and Derek and Mr. Brady and Dylan and I and Mr. Smola and Mr. Carroll and the board, we've worked diligently to address some of the problems. And with this being approached to me, it has nothing to do with, we just want that field to be brought up to where it can be taken care of and maintained, properly.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Coach. All right, at this time, Mr. Carroll, will you go over your report?
Thank you. Hey, a bunch of financial reports in front of you. The first one is our cash reconciliation. This is showing how we are balanced with the bank. Second report is how we are appropriated with the county auditor currently. We have our cash summary. This is our fund balance for each fund here at Evergreen. We have our disbursement summary report. These are the disbursements or the checks that we issued during the month of February. First graph you see is how our revenue and expenses for the month of February and year to date kind of align with our forecast and compared to last year at this time. We are 67% of the way through the fiscal year. And the last graph is our payroll and benefits broken down. We are 66% spent of our payroll budget and 70% of our benefits budget. So again, according to these graphs, we are right on par with where we should be and in line with last year. We have a couple budget adjustments for student activity funds on here as well, a couple donations. And then we have 2 new grants that we received this month as well. That is all I have.
Any questions on the report? All right. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. We're going to move into the financial report section. We need to approve the financial reports we just reviewed with Mr. Carroll. We also need to accept the following donations: $100 anonymous donation to the Student Assistance Fund, $500 from Fulton County Cattle Feeders Association to FFA, $150 worth of supplies and materials from Ohio Homemakers and Community Education to the Kinderstart program. We also need to approve the fund-to-fund transfers you see listed there, as well to approve the grant and modified appropriations for career awareness and exploration grant, $8,252.50. Attorney General School Safety Grant for $5,114.02. We also need to approve a revised auxiliary service agreement with the Educational Service Center Lake Erie West for the 2023-2024 school year, in the amount of $81,059.64. For for services of auxiliary service personnel for the benefit of fully trained schools and to amend resources and to modify appropriations accordingly.
So move.
Four.
Questions?
Brian, that last one, Lake Erie West, that's just money touching us going to Holy Trinity, right?
Correct.
Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeler?
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll move on to personnel. We need to offer the following teacher a one-year limited teaching contract effective with the start of 2024 school year. Barry Bach for high school teacher. We also need to offer the following supplemental contract for 2023-2024 school year pending the completion of all people activity permit requirements for Madison Zoltowski, assistant softball coach, Madison Mockenstern for assistant softball volunteer coach. We also need to accept the resignation of Shane Bergman, intervention specialist, effective August 31st, 2024. This time, I just need a motion to approve the above listed personnel positions.
So moved. Sport.
Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeler?
Yes, motion carried. Congratulations, Mr. Bach. I'll move on to other business. We need to authorize membership to Ohio High School Athletic Association for the Evergreen High School and Evergreen Middle School for 2024-2025 school year. The board agrees to conduct Evergreen's athletic programs in accordance with the Constitution, bylaws, regulations, interpretations, and decisions of the OHSAA.
So moved. Four.
Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeler?
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion to approve the revised administrative compensation program and board employee compensation program for the 2024-2025 school year and beyond.
So moved. Sport.
Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeler?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion to approve an agreement with Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center to cooperatively participate in special education services for fiscal year 24-25 at an estimated cost of $965,178.34. The board in Northwest Ohio Educational Service Center agreed that $890,178.34 of this amount shall be paid pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3313.845, or applicable law by having this amount deducted from the board state foundation payments, with the remaining balance being invoiced and paid directly to the NWOESD.
So moved.
Sport.
Questions or discussion?
Primarily for special ed services, or almost entirely? Quite a bit.
Football, yeah. But there are also aids and other services provided in there. Speech therapy application.
Thank you.
All right, roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeler?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, Mr. Small, would you like to take over with discussion and information?
Yeah, we are in the process of analyzing our recent survey results. Overall participation was a little less than we had hoped for, but the results are consistent with the last two surveys we had done with our initial strategic plan and our revised version. Academically, there's a need for opportunities for students entering the trades or the workforce. We had very positive feedback on our college prep program, but the results showed the need for students either entering the trades or the workforce. Our music and performing arts are highly valued at all levels by all members of the district, through all the surveys that came through. There is interest in expanding our ag program as well as industrial arts offerings. Additionally, there's strong support for facility upgrades to the middle school, our ag facilities, and for our performing arts. Based on these results, we'll begin exploring facility options to share with the community, looking at, based on the result, what can we provide and at what cost, and come back to the board with those options and then share those with the community. Ultimately, any major building project will take a bond issue, community support to move on. Any questions?
Need further information?
That's all I got on that one.
All right, we'll jump over to Mrs. Brown.
Good evening, everyone. We had our preschool teachers host a Donuts for Dads event on February 23rd, where more than 60 dads took part in the event. It was great to see dads come in. They're working on activities with their kids. It was just great to see a full house. I'm currently working with a 4th grade student who came to me. She wants to start a book club on her own. So she is creating it from the ground up and working to make that happen for her for our 3rd and 4th grade students. We have our 4th and 5th grade tour set up for May 20th at the middle school. I want to thank Lindsay and Sharon both for working to get this all set up and coordinate everything to take place for our kids. We also had our daddy-daughter dance on March 1st. It was lots of fun, lots of dads, lots of daughters, and they were finally excited that they could finally all come together and enjoy the event. The little girls were asking for weeks and weeks and weeks, but the weather would cooperate, so it's nice to see it come together. We're also planning, we're in the planning phase for state testing. We recently met with each grade level to work through student groupings, student accommodations, classrooms that we're going to be using to provide the best environment for our students. So our teachers all came together to do that, which was really great to see. We're also working on our tea party, which is going to take place on April 14th. The girls are already getting excited. We sent them flyers today. It was a huge event last year with more than 350 people coming. So what we're gonna have to do this year is expand into the gym if we end up having that many or more people attend. So it should be a lot of fun. Also want to thank Alexis Howell with FFA for creating fleece blankets for our families. They did a great job. They're beautiful, and she's allowing us to pass them out to any kind of families, maybe in crisis or tough situations. So that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? I don't think so. Okay.
I do. The traffic, I know you guys have all been working on that. Is there any update on where that might be going?
I submitted a plan with the help of Mr. Sen and the traffic engineer, which would allow for one option in and out for our families to help with the flow of traffic, where there'd be no crossing of traffic, no traffic traveling onto County Road 6, which would allow for safety of our students and our families. So it would take minimal money, I feel, compared to some other options that we looked into previously. And they would also be very low maintenance over the years. So I'm not sure where we're at with that, but I did submit my plan, so.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Mr. Burkholder.
Good evening. I'd like to start off like I normally do and recognize my People's Champ for the month. Pretty cool. It's the first time I've had this. I actually have co-people champs this month, and it's because I let the staff give recommendations for who they would, who they've seen do stuff around the building for. And they, normally you get a recommendation or two, but I have multiple recommendations for both Dawn Hill and Trish Sutter. Those are two of my paras in my building, which speaks volumes of their value, because lots of times your paras don't always get the same recognition that your teacher do. Both those ladies do a phenomenal job working with our kids, and then anytime we need anything to make the building run throughout the day, staff's down, a position needs filled, some role needs to be taken care of, they both step up to the plate. So I very much appreciate their efforts. On February 27th, our 8th graders went out to 4 County Career Center. We do this every year as a way for them to get to see the opportunities that are out there. 4 County does a great job taking the kids on tours throughout the building. The kids get to see 3 different career options out there. So thank you, Mrs. Scowron, who helped organize that here on our end, and to the 8th grade teachers who volunteered to take our kids on the trip. They were well behaved this year, and a lot of good feedback from those kids. They were kind of excited. That's one of the things I've noticed. 4 counties got a lot of good offerings out there for our kids. Our kids come back, a number of them interested in what's going on out there. The previous month here, we've spent some time getting ready for our Amazing Shake program. We've had 2 different days in which our 7th graders have got to prep for our competition. We had a day back on February 23rd, which was our preview day. The kids got to learn about the stations that they're going to compete within. And then back on March 7th, we had an actual gauntlet practice day. That day took a lot of work. It lasted for most of the day, and we had a bunch of volunteers come in and help with that. the kids got to actually sit through or got to go through each of the stations as kind of a trial and error and you get a chance to experiment with the station, try them out. This way, this week when they compete in the station, it's not brand new to them. So, with that being said, this week, March 21st is the gauntlet competition that we're gonna be having. For any board member who's interested in attending, it's from 9:15 to 10:45. We do 2 rounds of it and we'll have about 55 volunteers from the community coming in. That being said, I've had a number of dropped out volunteers just because of life and busyness of the work community. So we are looking for a few more volunteers. If you know any names that would step up to the plate and fill a few roles for us, but we're wanting all community members to run the competition rather than anybody within the school district. And that's mainly because we want those outside eyeballs who don't know our kids yet to have a fresh look at them. So, the Quiz Bowl season ended back on March 7th. They had a great year overall. The kids had lots of fun. They had their final tournament out at the ESC in Archibald, in which they went 1 and 2. And then we also got to have a fun day in which they competed against the staff. They beat the staff, from what I was told. I was shocked by that because they were losing poorly, but they came back and won the staff match, which was a lot of fun for those guys. On March 5th, Ms. Scowron, our guidance counselor, took 10 of our students to the Fulton County Youth Mental Health Summit. It's a great opportunity for our kids to learn about mental health and how they can have an impact on it. Basically some leadership type skills. So that's 2 years in a row we went to that. The last 2 weeks leading up to our spring break, our student council put on a coin drive that led to a reward movie day. The money that they earned will be going half to student council's funds and then the other half to the Toledo Metro Parks, in which we'll be having a field trip later on this year, in which the student council kids will go out there and actually do some work and learn more about the Metro Parks and what it does for our communities. Thank you to Mrs. Wolf and Mrs. Klein for organizing that for us. And the last thing we have kind of just around the corner, a week ahead, we do have an event. We're taking about 65 of our 8th graders to the 18th annual diversity program. It's at the Ruth Markowitz Holocaust Resource Center in Toledo. They get the opportunity to hear a speaker, Erica Gold, who's a Holocaust survivor, speak for the day. So that'll be a very unique opportunity because a lot of them have been reading and learning about those things in class. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burkholder. Mr. Ruther.
Good evening. First, I want to congratulate Grant Richardson and Jack Stableski on qualifying for the state wrestling tournament. It has been great to watch them throughout the year. I've learned a lot about wrestling, but it was awesome. And congratulations to Grant, who placed 7th. I'm actually going to go off script for tonight. If you have questions, you can read my report, but I kind of want to talk about very briefly things that may not always make board reports. It's maybe not the big headlines, but to me, it's things that make us who we are. And I'm always reminded that it's people, not programs here. When I'm out about in the building, just walking through classrooms and seeing things teachers are doing, it's not always things that are brought to the board. So I just they may seem like small things, but I think they need to be highlighted. I have teachers volunteering to stay Friday nights on their own time for an hour and a half, 2 hours to help kids. I have Mrs. Maddie, she does a goal crushing jar, kids write personal goals on Post-it notes, talk about them throughout the year, put them in the jar. When they meet these goals and she brings in food and kind of celebrates it. Mr. Holiday has just gone above and beyond the school call for the south stairwell is now the senior stairwell. He's put a lot of time into organizing that, supervising it. Some staff organizing Secret Spirit Week, which I think the kids might have caught on to. All the staff knew about a theme and we all just kind of dressed those days, and it was just a fun way to add to the school building. Also want to highlight our athletic trainer, Santana. He does an awesome job. I was at tournament basketball, wrestling matches, and he was there and he didn't have to be talking to the kids, just showing his support. Mr. Bergman took it on his own. He has a math lab and just wasn't happy on the structure of it, so he took his own time, has put some new structures into place, and we're seeing a lot of success. Intervention specialist. They are on top of some of our kids for graduation requirements. They care about them. They know where they're at. They're helping them get their graduation seals, competency, all of that. A big one for me is there's some days I'm short 2 or 3 subs in the building. I walk in at 7:30, send out an email, by 8 o'clock, I have staff down in my office, sending emails back, everybody's volunteering to cover it. It's just great to see that kind of teamwork. We implemented interventions Tuesdays and Thursdays in the building, and the staff is just, it's something new for them, but they've jumped on board, and just kind of embraced it to help our kids. Again, these aren't major things, but I think it's people, not programs, that make us great, and I am very blessed to work with this great staff, and I just want you guys to know as a board that we have pretty awesome staff here, so. If you do have questions about the other stuff on my report, you can let me know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rupert. Dr. Swinford.
So I looked back in my notes and last spring I gave you an update about grants. So each month you have been seeing grants, accepting grants that we received. So I thought the best way to do it is just to summarize everything that we have received to date as far as different grants. I mean, you do have an information sheet in your packet. But I wanted to share it for the community. So this year so far, we have been awarded 9 grants totaling $69,340.28. So that is additional money that the district receives. Those funds are utilized for school safety, for STEM activities, career awareness activities and exploration, sources of strength, which is focusing on that mental health piece for both staff and students. Enhancing our agricultural education program and supporting our homeless and economically disadvantaged students. So each grant that's written has its own set of criteria and requirements. Some of it is based on our free and reduced numbers, others is our demographics. So each time I have to review what those requirements are to see if we meet them. The grants that we have received is the Ohio STEM Learning Network Classroom Grant, and we were able to purchase for $5,000, purchase 2 to 3D printers and filament for the middle school. The Ohio Attorney General School Law Enforcement Technology Linking Grant for FY24. We purchased, they have been ordered, they are not in yet, digital mobile radios for all of our school transportation. And those are expected to be in summer. In addition to that, I know the question is going to come about handheld radios because that has been a topic. Those were ordered back in December. They are on back order, so they told us it would be a couple of months before we get them. So we will also have brand new handheld radios for district administration and staff that have current radios. The next grant we received was the Ohio Attorney General FY24 School Safety Grant. This is a small grant. It's based on enrollment. We are able to purchase our annual subscription for our Raptor Visitor Management System and supplies, as well as parent pickup tags. The Career Awareness and Exploration Grant that was just approved or accepted is going to be used for our Ag Education Day at the elementary, career exploration field trips, and any career fair, transportation or guest speakers. And that is for K through 12. We received an additional allocation for the ARP Homeless Targeted Support Grant. We have used that for our ready rooms in each of the buildings. There's personal hygiene items, there's clothing, there's washers and dryers in each building for economically disadvantaged or homeless. Sources of Strength grant is only $5,000, but we met as a district team to determine what those we're going to use that for. In addition to that, our 3A counselors, Amanda, Sharon, and Lindsay put in a lot of work in running that program for each building and teaching the curriculum. So they are getting a small stipend of $250 each as part of that grant. We were allowed to do that. We have a gift card from Sources, $250 for supplies. Our agricultural education 5th quarter grant is for extended days. That's for those supervised agricultural experiences and work-based learning for Alexis. Sources are, students supporting students is our SOS. That is our tutoring program that goes on at for our elementary students. So it's our high school students. They are getting paid to do that, as well as Maddie Stewart, who is coordinating that. And then we just found out it's an odd number. I'm not sure why it was $999, but it is celebrating Ohio Book Awards and authors. And that is for age appropriate books that will be here in the library itself. So our total, like I said, is under this year compared to what's last year at this time. We do have some other ones out there that we're just kind of waiting and stuff, but we're making progress. Any questions?
Awesome, thank you so much, Dr. Steinberg. Mr. Smola.
My first item is a follow-up to the question you had for Mrs. Brown, and the plan she had said we did go out and get quotes on her plan to do a different traffic flow. We also looked at adding an additional drive to the front, so waiting on BioHarz or doing any estimates on those. So as soon as we get those quotes back for the two different plans, we can evaluate which one we would want to go with. We know something needs to be done to help the turn pickup at the elementary, so there's a plan to do that. Just waiting on costs to share with the board is the best way to move forward with that. Lifewise Academy is looking at the possibility of opening an Evergreen chapter for our elementary students next year. Evergreen board policy allows for this, so that something that other schools in the area are doing, and that is release time for religious instruction with explicit provisions. We're cooperating with Lifewise to work out a schedule for students. I just met with them before break. Mrs. Brown and I will get together, look at schedule options, and then follow up with them. They would like to start the next school year, and I think that is a realistic possibility. We have our next round of community conversations scheduled for April, so community members can meet with Mr. Carroll and I to talk about anything they would like related to the district. We're scheduled April 5th at Wolf It Down at 11 a.m., April 10th at the Country Charm Cafe at 9 a.m., and April 11th at the US 20 Diner at 8 a.m. So we have 3 scheduled for April where we're available to meet with anyone who'd like to come and chat with us about any questions, concerns, or anything related to the district. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Spinola. Are there any board members with questions or concerns? No? All right, at this time, I need a motion for the members of the Evergreen Local Board of Education, Superintendent, Treasurer, and invited guests to go into executive session for the following reasons. To consider the employment of public employees.
Move.
Support.
All right, roll call?
Yes. Mr. Beckler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mrs. Seaver?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, any high school students who have paperwork from Mr. Roofer, you can give it to him. There will be no action after executive session tonight.